All right, our next question, sent to cornydrivethrough@gmail.com from Allie in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So we'll stay in Canada for this one. This email is with regards to Bret Hart's recent series, which he has released on his website called Confessions of the Hitman, evaluating other pro wrestlers' careers. In his first post, he started talking about the Hulkster, and his thoughts were as follows. Hogan's look was 10 out of 10. His promo was 9 out of 10, and his wrestling ability 2 out of 10. Bret has always been known for his honesty, but what surprised me was his evaluation of himself. He believed that his look was 6 out of 10, his promo was 5 out of 10, and his wrestling was 9 out of 10. When you sum that up, he gave Hogan 21 overall points and 20 for himself. This probably has to be the first time in history that Bret stated that anyone might be better than him, let alone the dude who turned down his push as a main eventer. Let me know if you agree with Bret.
Well, I think Hogan, I was about to say, was pretty much right on the money. I don't know. I mean, a 2 out of 10 for his in-ring. Good God, there's some fucking part-time job guys that look like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag that would maybe get a 2. So maybe he could be a 3. But yeah, I mean, it was Hogan's look, his promo, and his personality. And he did try in his younger days in Japan, especially. Yes, Hogan would, he could work for his size, but he didn't keep it up long, and he didn't have to. And then it depends on whether you're talking about physical work or psychology work, because people call working different things. His execution of shit or his effort in the matches, Hogan's, were bleh, because he didn't care about that. But his psychology and his knowing when to do shit or when to milk the people or whatever was a 10 out of 10. So it just, and Bret, I don't know if he may have been hard on himself on his fucking look. He didn't look like fucking Hogan, but he didn't look bad for a normal wrestler. So I think I would say Bret shorted Hogan a point in the ring and shorted himself a point on his look.
I think Bret shorted himself on promos too. He's put 5 out of 10. Once he turned heel, his promos were fantastic.
Well, but then maybe he was doing a career average because, especially, yes, when he was telling the truth about how much better the Canadian healthcare system is than the United States and what sucky people we were, that was great shit. But also you have to, I did backstage promos with Bret on a regular basis. We were all bad, and I've sat and watched him do 20 takes on a fucking station ID. So, he wasn't the greatest talker in the world, but when he was motivated like that, and that was also, to be honest, maybe we ought to go back and look at some of Bret's stuff in Calgary, because he usually had to say the fucking bullshit WWF stuff. But when he actually got to say what Bret Hart would really say about how America sucked and Canada was better and all that stuff and the USA-Canada thing, that's when his promos were great. He had something to talk about. He believed.
On the topic of Hogan as a wrestler, you always hear it said, and it's true, Hogan in New Japan was a different Hogan than he was in America.
Because he had to be, because he wasn't over yet like a fucking god that could not be just fired and gotten rid of. So he had to work hard to get there.
Well, that's my point, though. In America, he didn't have to do that. And while I agree the Superman comeback got ridiculous at times, I mean, he got right up from Randy Savage's elbow drop. It got ridiculous and it became predictable. But when he was on the road and he was working all those dates, it made sense to work the style that he worked as opposed to the New Japan style. That wouldn't have fit in with 1980s WWF.
Oh, no. Well, and also when one guy means that much money to you, you don't want to have him taking any chances on getting hurt. Because it wasn't like that you could replace Hulk Hogan in 1986 or 7 or whatever. And I'm sure Vince probably had a fucking conniption fit when Hogan gave Bubba that superplex off the cage. But Bubba wanted to take it, and it was Madison Square Garden. He was making more money than he'd ever made in his life. But yeah, that's the thing. Hogan had to do what New Japan, what the style was and what the standard was for New Japan, because at that time he'd only been in the business 3 or 4 years, 5 years, and he was making more money in Japan than he would have been in the United States because of the pay schedule at the time. And then once he, when he got over for Vern, Vern was easier anyway. It was an easier territory than New Japan, and he's got all those great workers to fucking bounce off of him, and then going to work for Vince, who always sold the sizzle, not the steak. Yes, naturally he's going to back up. And then it got to be where it was just like, oh, fuck, here it is. But there you go.